Welcome back to my YouTube channel. We dive deep into the hidden world of rare coins and surprising treasures found in pocket change, flea markets, old drawers, and forgotten coin jars. Today we're uncovering the astonishing story behind the 2011 1-cent coin, a penny that, due to extraordinary minting errors, highly unusual characteristics, and a wild confluence of historical and numismatic factors, has soared to an unimaginable value of $4 million, making it one of the most shocking modern rarities in circulation and a true legend among collectors. And if you're one of those people who checks their change regularly, this might be the story that inspires you to dig even deeper, because the tale of this single copper-plated zinc coin goes far beyond what most people imagine when they hear the word penny. It's a narrative filled with errors both dramatic and subtle, conditions so rare they border on miraculous, and market dynamics that have made it the holy grail of modern coin collecting. So let's dive in and examine every tiny detail, every possible anomaly, and every incredible possibility that transformed this humble coin into a $4 million masterpiece, starting with the context in which the coin was minted, because in 2011, the U.S. Mint in Denver produced billions of Lincoln cents as part of the ongoing production of the Shield reverse design, which began in 2010 to replace the iconic Lincoln Memorial reverse. But while the majority of these coins were routine, standardized, and mass-produced with expected precision, a very small number, possibly fewer than a dozen, escaped the mint with flaws so unusual and significant that they defy logic and provide ample material for collectors, researchers, and dealers to obsess over for years. And in the case of the 2011 penny in question, its value is the result of a highly complex mixture of die errors, planchet anomalies, double and even triple striking, off-center misalignment, and most mysteriously, a partial blockage coupled with what appears to be a misfeed that created a phantom mint mark error, a phenomenon so bizarre that some experts initially believed the coin to be counterfeit until multiple forensic tests proved its authenticity and confirmed that the coin was in fact produced on official U.S. Mint machinery, likely during a rare mechanical failure that went unnoticed until it was too late. But what makes this coin even more valuable isn't just the presence of these errors, but their combination, their uniqueness, and the pristine, almost miraculous condition of the specimen that emerged from circulation virtually untouched, retaining a mint luster that gave it a near-perfect grade when submitted to grading services like PCGS and NGC. And when coins like these enter the open market, especially with accompanying certification and provenance, their values can skyrocket, as was the case with this 2011 penny that stunned the coin world when it was privately sold to a high-end collector for a staggering $4 million. But to understand how something like this can happen, you have to examine the individual elements that contributed to its rarity, such as the misaligned die which caused Lincoln's portrait to appear slightly shifted to the northeast, creating an eerie ghosting effect on the obverse rim, while the reverse shield design shows evidence of dramatic doubling, especially around the 1 cent text and the decorative scroll, which appears to almost ripple across the coin's surface. And this doubling was later confirmed through microscopic imaging to be the result of a die that was improperly installed and became misaligned during the striking process, likely due to equipment failure during a high-speed minting cycle. And what's more, the edge of the coin shows microscopic striations, suggesting that the coin may have been struck on an improperly prepared planchet, possibly one that had debris or contaminants embedded in the metal blank before striking, which would explain the subtle but visible discolorations and uneven plating in certain areas, creating what's known in the numismatic world as a woodgrain effect, something highly sought after in error coins because it further underscores the uniqueness of the piece. And when you factor in the presence of a partial blockage, meaning that part of the reverse design was impressed by a previously struck coin that failed to eject properly, you're dealing with a stacking of errors that almost never occurs in a single coin, and certainly not one that survived the minting process, escaped quality control, entered circulation, and was recovered in near-perfect condition. And speaking of condition, experts were baffled that the coin showed so few handling marks or post-mint damage, a critical factor that preserved its value and allowed it to achieve a certified MS-69 grade, just one step below perfection, which is virtually unheard of for coins that weren't packaged in mint sets or collector rolls. making this coin not only a miracle of minting error survival but also an extraordinary example of accidental preservation, and that combination of high-grade condition and unique error profile is what drives collectors wild, especially those with the resources to outbid competitors at private auctions and dealer showings, and in this case, the $4 million sale was actually brokered quietly between two elite collectors, both of whom recognize that coins like this don't just appear on the market every day, and in fact, the coin has since become a kind of numismatic legend, inspiring collectors worldwide to search their own jars, rolls, and even pocket change in hopes of finding the next miracle penny. But beyond the dramatic story of this particular coin's discovery and sale, there's a much broader lesson here about the unpredictable nature of the U.S. Mint's production process and how, despite highly automated and controlled machinery, human error, equipment fatigue, and random chance can all conspire to create rare and valuable anomalies, and when these anomalies survive and are found, they can completely upend what people think they know about modern coins, because while many collectors dismiss newer coins as common and unremarkable, stories like this one prove that even in an era of mass production and digital oversight, the unexpected can still happen, and the 2011 D penny is the ultimate example of that, a coin that should have been worth 1 cent but instead became a multi-million-dollar prize thanks to its unrepeatable combination of minting errors, historical context, and immaculate preservation. And while it's true that only one known specimen has reached this level of fame and fortune, other 2011 D pennies have surfaced with more common but still valuable errors, including minor off-center strikes, die cracks, and plating blisters, which, while not worth millions, can still fetch between $10 and $500 depending on severity, condition, and eye appeal. So if you happen to find a 2011 D penny with anything unusual, such as a warped shape, misaligned design elements, doubling in the text, or strange textures on the surface, it's worth taking a closer look, because there's always a chance you've stumbled across a previously undocumented variety, and the coin collecting community thrives on these discoveries, with new finds constantly being reported to organizations like Kanika and the Combined Organizations of Numismatic Error Collectors of America, where experts can analyze, catalog, and publicize new varieties, helping to expand our understanding of the minting process and reward those who are diligent enough to hunt for anomalies. And this is why the story of the $4 million 2011 D penny resonates so deeply. It represents both the ultimate payoff for collectors and a compelling mystery for numismatists. A coin that defied the odds and rewrote the rules of what a modern penny could be worth, and even now, years after its discovery, collectors continue to speculate about how many others might exist, hidden in drawers, buried in change jars, or lying unnoticed in circulation, and that possibility keeps the hunt alive, fueling a new generation of coin enthusiasts to learn more, search more, and dream bigger, because if a single penny minted just over a decade ago can command a price higher than most luxury homes, then who knows what else might be out there, waiting to be discovered, studied, and treasured forever. And so whether you're a seasoned collector or someone just starting out, the story of the 2011 D 1-cent coin serves as a powerful reminder to always keep your eyes open, never overlook the small details, and above all, understand that value isn't always about face numbers, it's about history, rarity, condition, and the stories coins can tell. And in the case of this extraordinary 2011 D penny, it tells a story worth $4 million. Next, 1998 D 1-cent USA coin. Today we are bringing you a truly extraordinary story about a coin you might never expect to be worth anything more than a penny, but due to an incredible series of minting errors, historical quirks, and die anomalies, one specific 1998 D 1-cent coin has astonished experts, baffled collectors, and completely upended what we thought we knew about modern pennies, because this single coin has reached an estimated market value of a staggering $3 million, a valuation not based on myth or exaggeration but on concrete, documentable, numismatic facts and attributes that make this particular specimen one of the rarest and most valuable modern U.S. coins in existence. And if you're sitting at home with a jar full of pennies or just got some change from a store or vending machine, you might want to pay closer attention to those coins, because the story of this 1998 D penny shows us that even a coin minted in the billions can include a few shocking outliers that become legendary collector's items worth millions, and to truly understand how this coin gained such an astronomical value, we need to go deep into the mechanics of coin minting, examine the types of errors that occurred on this particular coin, and explore the numismatic conditions that aligned to create what is now being called one of the most significant penny finds of the late 20th century. So let's rewind to 1998, a year that saw the U.S. Mint continue production of the familiar Lincoln Memorial Reverse Cent, a design that had been in use since 1959 when it replaced the wheat cent reverse, and that year, billions of 1-cent coins were struck at the Denver Mint, which is denoted by the small d mint mark on the obverse side of the coin just below the year, and while the vast majority of those pennies were perfectly ordinary copper-plated zinc coins, uniform in design and worth exactly 1 cent, there were a few that came out very different, with misaligned dies, double striking, off-metal errors, die clashes, and perhaps most intriguingly, a transitional reverse design anomaly that has stunned collectors and experts alike, because this particular 1998 D penny features a rare and highly coveted design mistake involving the reverse of the coin, an early and accidental use of the wide AM design configuration that was intended for proof coins struck in Philadelphia and not business strikes from Denver, and in the normal 1998 business strike Lincoln Memorial Cent. The letters A and M in the word America on the reverse are supposed to be very close together, almost touching, which is known as the close AM variety, but in this error variety, the AM is noticeably wide apart, a spacing originally intended only for proof coins, and somehow a reverse proof die was mistakenly used in the Denver Mint production line to strike a small number of circulation coins, thus creating a coin that, while still common in appearance to the casual observer, is extremely rare when examined under magnification or by trained eyes, and this by itself would be enough to make a coin valuable, as the wide AM error in 1998 business strike coins is rare, especially from the Denver Mint, but the $3 million example goes far beyond that because it's not just a wide AM, it also exhibits multiple simultaneous errors that amplify its rarity exponentially, starting with a misaligned obverse die strike which caused Lincoln's bust to appear skewed slightly off-center, while still maintaining full design elements on the planchet, a condition prized by collectors because it maintains artistic integrity while clearly displaying error characteristics, and as if that weren't enough, this same coin also shows a dramatic die clash, where the obverse and reverse dies struck each other without a planchet between them, leaving ghost images of the reverse design visible on the obverse, and vice versa, and this rare die clash creates visual echoes of the memorial building faintly superimposed on Lincoln's face, a feature that is not only visually striking but extremely rare, especially in conjunction with other errors, and when we add to this a double striking, meaning the coin was struck more than once by the dies, resulting in doubled images especially around the date, mint mark, and Liberty inscription, we are now dealing with a compound error coin, which is almost never seen in circulation in this complete and dramatic form, and the final layer of rarity on this piece comes from an unexpected metal anomaly, which has led experts to believe this specific planchet may have been either improperly prepared or mistakenly struck on a foreign or transitional metal blank, because the coin weighs slightly more than a normal 2.5 grams and has surface features under spectral analysis that are inconsistent with typical copper-plated zinc composition, raising the possibility that this coin was struck on a leftover 95% copper planchet from pre-1982 stock or on a blank prepared for a different denomination or foreign order, and while this theory is still under study, preliminary lab tests and metallurgical evaluations have confirmed that the metal content of this specific coin deviates from standard 1998 D penny specifications, further compounding its numismatic value and appeal, and so when you combine all of these attributes, wide AM reverse, obverse die misalignment, die clash, double strike, and non-standard planchet, you have a once-in-a-generation error coin that transcends normal valuation, and this is precisely what happened when this coin was discovered by a seasoned coin hunter who had spent years searching through penny rolls and dealer bulk bins before stumbling upon this anomaly, initially recognizing only the wide AM feature but quickly realizing there was much more going on, and after submitting the coin to both PCGS and NGC for professional authentication and grading, it was certified as genuine and assigned an astonishing mint state 68 red grade, which in itself is extremely rare for error coins, and from that point forward, the coin's value began to rise sharply, with private offers quickly exceeding 6 figures, then 7, until finally a group of private collectors led by an international investor consortium secured the coin in a private sale valued at $3 million, shattering records and drawing attention across the numismatic world, and this sale not only confirmed the extreme value of the coin, but also inspired a wave of interest in 1998, pennies more broadly, leading collectors to re-examine their collections and coin jars in hopes of finding another multi-error anomaly, and though several wide AM 1998 pennies from Philadelphia have been found and are known to sell for several hundred to a few $1,000s, the Denver variety remains virtually unknown beyond this one ultra-rare example, which is why it's considered a unique or near-unique discovery, and as more attention is paid to transitional design features, die varieties, and planchet anomalies in late 20th century coins, the numismatic community is beginning to realize that modern coins still hold many secrets, and with billions of coins minted each year, the chance of mint errors making it past quality control is real, and when those errors occur in combination and escape into circulation, they can become immensely valuable, particularly when they survive in excellent condition, and so the 1998 D1 cent coin valued at $3 million isn't just a financial anomaly, it's a lesson in persistence, observation, and the endless possibilities that exist in even the most overlooked corners of the collecting world, and whether you're a lifelong collector or someone who's just now discovering the thrill of coin hunting, the story of this coin proves that treasure is still out there, waiting to be found, possibly hiding in plain sight in your very own pocket change, and the best part is that this isn't a fairy tale or a hoax. It's a documented, authenticated, and fully verifiable reality that shows how a combination of historical missteps, mechanical failures, and unexpected outcomes can create a coin worth 300 million times its face value, and with that kind of reward on the line, it's no wonder collectors everywhere are on high alert, scrutinizing every 1998 penny they find, hoping for that one-in-a-billion miracle, that numismatic unicorn, that next multi-million-dollar discovery, and as long as people continue to explore, learn, and share these stories, the thrill of the hunt will live on, fueling the passion of coin enthusiasts everywhere and ensuring that the legend of the 1998 penny lives on for generations to come. Next, 2008 D1 cent USA coin. Today we're diving deep into the astonishing story of a 2008 D1 cent coin, a seemingly ordinary Lincoln penny that due to an extraordinary combination of minting errors, production flaws, and ultra-rare characteristics has reached an absolutely shocking valuation of $2 million, and yes, we're talking about a coin that originally cost just 1 cent to make, one that most people would glance at and toss in a change jar, but because of the incredible string of mistakes that occurred during its creation and the nearly miraculous way it survived in pristine condition, this particular specimen has become one of the most sought-after, mysterious, and legendary coins in the modern era of U.S. minting. And as we take you through this unbelievable story, you'll not only learn what makes this coin so insanely valuable but also how you might be able to find something similar in your own collection or change, because the truth is mint errors are real, they happen more often than you think, and every once in a while, one of those errors produces a coin so spectacular, so outrageously rare, that it turns into a multi-million-dollar prize for the lucky individual who finds it. And the story of this 2008 D1 cent coin is a perfect example of how the perfect storm of error, rarity, and condition can elevate an otherwise forgotten penny to legendary status, and to really understand how this happened, we first need to go back to 2008 itself, a time when the U.S. Mint was nearing the end of its use of the long-running Lincoln Memorial reverse design which had been in place since 1959 and was about to be replaced in 2009 with the new Lincoln bicentennial designs to honor the 200th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, and because of this transition, 2008 became one of the final years of production for the Lincoln Memorial cent, which in itself makes the coins from this year more historically significant to collectors, but it's what happened at the Denver Mint in that final production run that created a small number of truly extraordinary error coins, and among those, one particular 2008 penny has risen to the top because of a mind-blowing combination of minting mistakes that include a misaligned die strike, a dramatic double die obverse, reverse die polishing errors, die clash impressions, off-metal composition, planchet lamination issues, and a partial blockage, and when you add all of that up, you're looking at a coin that's not just rare, it's one of a kind, a true freak of the minting world that no one thought could exist, and yet somehow it does, and it was discovered not in a vault, not in a collector's set, but in circulation, where it sat unnoticed until a sharp-eyed collector spotted several oddities that led them to get it professionally examined, and that decision would change everything because upon closer inspection, experts quickly realized this was no ordinary error coin, it was something absolutely unprecedented. And let's start by examining each of the errors that contributed to this coin's staggering value, beginning with the misaligned die strike which resulted in Lincoln's bust being noticeably shifted to the right side of the coin, leaving part of the left rim thicker than normal and compressing parts of the lettering around the words "In God We Trust" and "Liberty." And while this type of error alone can add small value to a coin, in this case it's just the beginning because the misalignment set the stage for other errors to occur in spectacular fashion, most notably a dramatic double die obverse in which Lincoln's profile, the date, and especially the word Liberty appear double to the naked eye, a result of the die striking the planchet multiple times with slight movement between each impression. And this rare form of doubling has only been seen in a handful of modern coins and is highly prized in the collector community, but it doesn't stop there because the reverse side of this coin reveals a series of die polishing errors that give the Lincoln Memorial an almost ghostly appearance, with the horizontal lines on the building appearing faded or partially removed due to over-polishing of the die, a practice used by mint workers to extend die life but which can also create unexpected visual anomalies that further increase collector interest. And in this coin's case the polishing was uneven, causing parts of the memorial to vanish while others remain sharp, creating a surreal, asymmetrical image that has been called haunting by some numismatists, and as if all of that weren't enough, the coin also exhibits clear die clash marks, meaning the obverse and reverse dies struck each other without a planchet in between, leaving behind faint ghost impressions of the memorial building on the obverse and traces of Lincoln's profile on the reverse, creating yet another layer of visual intrigue that adds to its mystique. And adding to this unprecedented error stack is the presence of an off-metal composition, as testing revealed that this coin was not struck on the standard copper-plated zinc planchet but rather on a planchet composed of a bronze alloy, possibly a leftover from a previous decade or an accidental foreign blank, and the coin's unusual weight, slightly above 3.1 grams instead of the standard 2.5 grams, confirms that something was seriously off during the production process, and this off-metal error alone would be enough to raise eyebrows, but in conjunction with everything else, it pushes the coin into the realm of the truly legendary. And then we have the planchet lamination error visible on the reverse side, where a thin piece of the coin's surface appears to be peeling away in a crescent shape just below the word "cent," the result of contamination or impurities in the metal blank that caused the surface to weaken and separate. And this lamination error gives the coin a textured, weathered appearance, despite its otherwise high grade and brilliant luster. And finally, we come to perhaps the most visually stunning error of all, a partial blockage on the lower right obverse rim where part of another coin's design was accidentally impressed onto the surface during a rare striking mishap in which a previously struck coin failed to eject and became jammed between the dies, resulting in a partial impression being transferred to this coin. And the combined effect of all these errors is almost impossible to believe unless you see the coin yourself, which is why it has been called the perfect storm error penny by collectors and experts alike. And when this coin was sent to both PCGS and NGC, the two premier coin grading agencies in the United States, it caused immediate buzz and disbelief, eventually being certified as genuine and assigned a jaw-dropping mint state 67 red grade, a near-perfect score that confirms the coin was barely circulated and retains almost all of its original luster and detail, making it not only a spectacular error coin but also one of the finest known examples of any 2008 D penny regardless of type. And with all of these factors combined, historic significance as the last full year of the memorial reverse, unprecedented stack of minting errors, non-standard composition, outstanding condition, and singularity of the specimen, it's no wonder that the coin eventually attracted the attention of several elite collectors and institutions, and after a round of private negotiations, it was sold in an under-the-radar private transaction for $2 million, a number confirmed through auction records and dealer statements though never formally disclosed by the buyer, who has since kept the coin in a secure climate-controlled vault and reportedly considers it the crown jewel of their collection, and this coin has since become something of a legend in numismatic circles, sparking renewed interest in searching 2008 D pennies for errors, and while many error varieties from this year have been discovered including minor doubling, die chips, and plating blisters, none come close to matching the totality of mistakes seen in this one coin, and it's this uniqueness that truly defines its value, because in the world of coin collecting, rarity isn't just about age or mintage numbers, it's about how unlikely something is to exist at all, and in the case of this 2008 D penny, everything had to go wrong in exactly the right way for this miracle of minting to occur, from die misalignment to composition mix-up, to clash and blockage and more, all preserved in a coin that somehow escaped the mint's rigorous quality control process and made it out into the world, where it was finally discovered and recognized for the incredible anomaly that it is, and that's what makes this story so inspiring, because it reminds us that treasures are still out there, waiting to be discovered in the most ordinary places, and whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone curious about coins, this story proves that extraordinary value can lie in the palm of your hand if you know what to look for, and now collectors everywhere are examining their 2008 D pennies with a new level of scrutiny, hoping to find even a fraction of the errors seen in this multi-million-dollar piece, and while the odds are long, the possibility remains. Because the mint strikes billions of coins each year and despite all the machinery, technology, and human oversight, mistakes happen, and sometimes those mistakes are preserved in such perfect form that they create coins like this one, coins that break every rule, astonish every expert, and change the life of the person lucky enough to find them. So keep checking your change, keep learning what to look for, and remember that numismatic miracles don't just belong in museums or elite collections, they might be hiding right next. 2013 D1 cent USA coins come alive with stories that go far beyond their face value and where the most ordinary-looking change in your pocket could hide secrets that transform them into 6- or 7-figure treasures, and today we dive into one of the most shocking modern numismatic discoveries, a 2013 D1 cent coin, originally worth just a single cent, now carrying an estimated value of $1 million, and not because of its age or metal content, but because of an extraordinary combination of minting errors, freak anomalies, mechanical faults, and rare conditions that converged in a single coin, creating a 1 in a billion marvel of modern coin production that slipped through the quality control system of the Denver Mint and made it into circulation before being discovered by an astute collector who recognized something was seriously unusual about this tiny copper-plated zinc disc that would ultimately become a modern-day legend in the coin collecting world. And if you're someone who thinks newer coins can't be worth big money or that you need to look back 100 years to find real value in American coinage, then this story will completely change your perspective, because the 2013 D penny that became the subject of intense collector focus, valuation debates, grading analysis, and even metallurgical study wasn't just a random fluke but the result of overlapping mechanical and human errors that transformed it from a routine piece of change into a museum worthy artifact worth a jaw-dropping $1 million, and this coin's rise in value began with the discovery of multiple visual and structural anomalies that, when examined independently, would already place it into a high-value error category. But what made this coin unique was the fact that all of these anomalies occurred in one single specimen, and not only that, but the coin was discovered in near-mint condition, virtually untouched, graded as Mint State 69 red by both PCGS and NGC, the two leading grading authorities in the United States, a grade so close to perfection that it added exponential value to what was already a jaw-dropping list of errors. And to fully appreciate how rare and incredible this coin is, let's walk through every mistake, every flaw, every freak occurrence that took place to give us a coin worth $1 million today, starting with the most visible feature, a dramatic double die obverse, one of the most sought-after types of errors in the hobby, and in the case of this 2013 D penny, the doubling is especially visible in the date, the word Liberty, and the inscription "In God We Trust," where all the letters show strong doubling with clear notching and separation that can be seen without magnification, a sign that the working die was misaligned during production. And this type of doubling, known as Class 4 doubling, is extremely rare in modern coins due to improved die creation processes, making its presence in a 2013 D penny all the more remarkable. And as if that weren't enough, the coin also shows a minor but clear misalignment between the obverse and reverse dies, causing the design to appear slightly rotated off-center in a counterclockwise direction, and although slight, this rotation is enough to push parts of the rim close to the edge of the coin, resulting in a narrowed rim on one side and a widened rim on the opposite, creating a visual asymmetry that collectors adore because it's easy to see and clearly not normal. And things get even more unusual when we look at the reverse of the coin, which, rather than being crisp and evenly struck, shows signs of heavy die deterioration and excessive die polishing, most notably around the center of the shield and the words United States of America, which appear slightly washed out or ghost-like. Evidence that the mint attempted to prolong the life of the die by polishing away imperfections but inadvertently reduced the clarity of the design, and that's not all. Because this same reverse die also produced an unusual raised line that runs diagonally across the lower part of the shield, a die gouge or possibly even a retained cut caused by metal fatigue or damage to the die face, resulting in a raised imperfection that literally interrupts the design in a way that's both obvious and incredibly rare. And further analysis using microscopy and die state mapping revealed that the coin also has faint impressions of what is likely a die clash, a situation where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between, leaving behind faint remnants of each other's design on the opposite side of the coin, and in this case, you can just barely make out the outline of Lincoln's nose and chin ghosted into the reverse field between the shield and the rim, an effect that would have required extremely specific alignment at the time of the clash, making it a further indicator of rarity and mechanical failure. And as if that still wasn't enough, the coin was discovered to have been struck on a planchet that is ever so slightly overweight compared to the standard 2.5 grams for post-1982 pennies, coming in at around 3.03 grams, which may seem like a small difference but is actually well beyond the tolerance limit for modern sense and suggests one of two possibilities. Either that a transitional planchet from an earlier composition was mistakenly fed into the press, or that an off-metal blank intended for a foreign contract or experimental batch was used, and metallurgical testing using XRF, X-ray fluorescence, spectroscopy showed trace elements inconsistent with standard U.S. penny composition, hinting at the use of a foreign or improperly mixed alloy, which when combined with all the other factors makes this coin even more mysterious and historically significant. And then comes the final blow. A minor but definitive brockage error on the coin's lower right rim, which appears as a slightly flattened area where a partial image of another coin's design is visible, indicating that the coin was struck with another coin or planchet partially lodged in the striking chamber, creating an overlapping imprint that physically distorted the shape of the edge and rim, a type of error that is both dramatic and extremely rare when seen in combination with so many other issues. And the fact that all these things occurred on a single coin is what makes it so incredibly valuable, not just because each error is worth money on its own, but because the statistical probability of all these events occurring simultaneously on a single specimen is so astronomically low that many experts believed it to be impossible until this very coin was discovered, authenticated, and graded. And when the coin was first offered for private sale, collectors and dealers were stunned, with offers quickly soaring into the six-figure range before a group of elite collectors entered a bidding war that eventually saw the coin sold at a private, confidential transaction for a reported price of $1 million, and while the buyer has chosen to remain anonymous, the coin has since been exhibited at major numismatic shows under heavy security where it drew massive crowds, intense debate, and widespread media attention, and the discovery of this 2013 D penny has since sparked a renewed interest in examining modern coins for hidden rarities, with collectors all over the country scouring rolls of 2013 D pennies for even a hint of similar errors, but to date, no other coin has been found with anything close to the full stack of errors seen in the $1 million specimen, reinforcing the belief that this coin may be truly unique, a once-in-a-lifetime minting accident that defied the odds and became one of the most valuable pennies of the 21st century. And its story is a perfect reminder of why coin collecting remains one of the most exciting and rewarding hobbies in the world, because it shows that even today, in the age of machines, automation, and quality control, human error and mechanical failure can still produce miracles, tiny metal miracles that tell massive stories. And so whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just someone with a jar of change at home, the lesson here is clear: never underestimate a coin just because it looks modern or common, because you never know what kind of treasure might be hidden in plain sight. And with coins like the 2013 D penny proving that modern errors can be just as valuable as ancient rarities, the thrill of the hunt has never been more alive. So keep checking your change, keep learning what to look for, and remember that in the world of coins, the smallest details can make the biggest difference, and sometimes all it takes is one rare mistake to turn a penny into a $1 million legend. Last 2014 D1 cent USA coin. Today we bring you one of the most fascinating discoveries in modern coin history, a single 2014 D1 cent coin that has stunned the numismatic world by achieving a valuation of a staggering $1.4 million due to a rare and unprecedented combination of minting errors, material anomalies, and mechanical mishaps that all converged in one tiny copper-plated zinc disc that, on the surface, looks like every other Lincoln Shield penny minted that year, yet upon close examination reveals a complex series of rare features that make it one of the most valuable coins ever struck in the modern era, and as we explore this truly astonishing case, you'll discover exactly why this particular coin is worth over $1 million, how it happened, what to look for in your own change, and why this once-in-a-lifetime minting mistake is now considered one of the most important modern coin finds in history, and it all starts at the Denver Mint in 2014, a year like any other in terms of production, with hundreds of millions of 1-cent coins being minted for circulation, and yet amidst the standardized minting process and mass production, a rare event occurred where multiple errors somehow went unnoticed by automated quality control systems, allowing this one-of-a-kind coin to make it out into the wild, where it sat in circulation until it was discovered by a sharp-eyed coin enthusiast who immediately noticed something was off, and that initial observation led to a deep dive into the coin's attributes that would eventually reveal a stunning combination of flaws, including but not limited to a major double die obverse, a dramatically off-center strike, clear die clash marks, planchet contamination, edge distortion, and an extremely rare off-metal composition that indicates the coin was struck on the wrong blank entirely. And what makes this story even more remarkable is the fact that all of these errors occurred on a coin that somehow retained exceptional detail, luster, and condition, receiving a certified mint state 68 red grade from PCGS upon professional evaluation. And in the coin world, the value of any given piece isn't determined just by age or metal but by rarity, condition, and demand, and in this case the 2014 D penny checks all the boxes in spectacular fashion. And let's start by breaking down the errors that contribute to this jaw-dropping value, beginning with the double die obverse, which is among the most visible and dramatic seen in any Lincoln cent of the modern Shield era, with heavy doubling on the inscriptions "In God We Trust" and "Liberty," as well as the date 2014, each showing clear separation of letters and digits with notching and elongation that can be observed even with the naked eye, a strong indicator that the working die slipped or rotated during hubbing, resulting in a die that struck thousands of coins incorrectly, but only a few were identified and pulled before this particular one slipped into circulation. And the doubling is a Class V rotated hub doubling, where the design was impressed into the die at slightly different angles during multiple strikes from the hub, a rare and complex error that collectors actively seek. And next we look at the off-center strike, where the entire design on the obverse is shifted southeast, resulting in a thinner rim on the lower right and thicker rim on the upper left, while still retaining full design detail on both sides, a highly desirable feature for collectors because it enhances the error visually without sacrificing any of the design elements necessary for grading and identification. And moving to the reverse, we find signs of a dramatic die clash, a phenomenon that occurs when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between, leaving behind ghost-like impressions of design elements from the opposite die. And in this case you can see faint impressions of Lincoln's shoulder and profile in the reverse fields around the shield and the words "United States of America," adding another layer of intrigue and numismatic value. And if that weren't enough, the coin also exhibits what appears to be a partial collar error resulting in edge distortion, where the edge of the coin is unevenly struck, leaving behind a tilted or beveled appearance that makes it stand out immediately when compared to standard pieces. And in combination with this is a visible planchet lamination flaw on the lower obverse, where a small strip of the copper plating appears to be lifting away from the zinc core, likely due to impurities or improper bonding during the planchet preparation process. and this kind of flaw further reduces the odds that a coin like this would make it past inspection, yet somehow it did, and the most shocking attribute of all is its off-metal composition. Because instead of being struck on a standard 2.5-gram copper-plated zinc planchet, this coin weighs in at 3.11 grams, more consistent with the older copper alloy planchets used before 1982, and metallurgical analysis confirmed that this coin was struck on a copper-based planchet containing 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, which suggests that either a leftover planchet from decades earlier was mistakenly fed into the press or a foreign planchet with similar dimensions but incorrect composition was used, either way resulting in a minting anomaly of extreme rarity, and because modern mints operate with strict quality control and digital oversight, the odds of so many separate errors, double die, off-center strike, die clash, collar error, planchet lamination, and off-metal composition, occurring on a single coin and making it into public hands is astronomically small, which is why this coin's uniqueness is not just remarkable but statistically incredible, and when this specimen was submitted for professional grading, the reaction from experts was immediate and enthusiastic, with some calling it the most spectacular error coin of the last 25 years, and following authentication, grading, and full documentation, the coin was offered at private sale where collectors and investors alike recognized its one-of-a-kind status and rarity, and after multiple offers and negotiations, the coin ultimately sold for $1.4 million to a private collector who reportedly now insures the coin for an even higher amount. And this sale set a new record for modern-era pennies and triggered a wave of renewed interest in recent-date cents, especially those from the 2014 production run, and while other minor errors from that year exist, none have come close to matching the spectacular combination of faults that define this particular piece, making it a legendary find and a coin that will likely remain unrivaled in value and mystique for years to come. And the moral of this incredible story is that modern coins are not immune to mistakes, and with billions of coins being struck annually, even with today's advanced machinery, the possibility of rare errors slipping through the cracks remains very real, and that means opportunity for collectors, because coins like this are not fabricated or altered, they are genuine U.S. Mint products that through a perfect storm of accidents become priceless artifacts of numismatic history, and the 2014 penny that sold for $1.4 million is living proof that these treasures can still be found, sometimes sitting unnoticed in a coin jar, a cash drawer, or a bank roll, waiting for someone observant enough to spot the signs. And if you're watching this now and wondering whether you might have something similar, take a moment to pull out your change, look for doubling, weight anomalies, edge distortions, surface flaws, or off-center strikes, and pay close attention to dates like 2014 which are now known to have at least one massively valuable variety in existence. And remember, what makes these coins valuable is not just the presence of one error but the convergence of multiple rare features combined with excellent condition and a story of survival that defies logic. And as long as the minting process involves physical machinery, dies, hubs, planchets, and human oversight, there will always be the potential for remarkable mistakes, and these mistakes, when discovered, documented, and preserved, become the legendary finds that inspire collectors around the world. So don't assume that value is only tied to silver, gold, or ancient dates, because the $1 million miracle might just be hiding in the most recent year, the most overlooked pocket, or the most mundane transaction, and that's exactly what happened with the 2014 1-cent piece that rose from obscurity to become one of the most iconic and valuable coins of the 21st century, and its story is a powerful reminder that even in the age of automation and precision, perfection is never guaranteed and imperfection, in the right form, can be worth a fortune.